Series in partnership with California Prunes. Today we're going to be cooking slow roast belly pork, seasoned with sea salt, fennel seeds, black pepper. It's going to be served up with a wild rice dish that's cooked with ginger beer, California prunes, and lovely wild rice. It's going to be delicious. Then we're going to serve it up with a non-alcoholic California prune, ginger beer, and mint mojito. Right, okay, first episode, new recipe. I'm excited about this one. We're gonna slow roast some belly pork, okay? It's a beautiful cut. Honestly, it is the best. I have got a piece here, and it is just sat on some veggies. So I've got a bulb of fennel, I've got a couple of onions, so it's sat off the bottom, okay? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna score it with a sharp knife. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, just ask your butcher to do it, but I'll show you how to do it. It's really easy. So I'm gonna get a plastic board so that I don't have to wash my chopping board in between, because then we'll have to reset all the cameras. We don't have to do that. So, sharp knife in, and I want you to score the skin about 1/2 centimetre deep. Don't cut into the meat, just cut through the fat. And that'll help it render, it'll help it crisp up, be beautiful. This is a 2 kilo piece, okay? And I think this will easily serve 6 to 8, Emily, would you say?
Yeah, I think
6
so.
to 8?
What would happen if you didn't score the fat?
It just wouldn't crisp up. You'd have to cut it away and you couldn't eat it if you want to. But I think everyone wants crispy skin. When you're going to roast when you invest in a joint of meat like this, and let's be honest, it's not cheap to eat meat anymore. You know, it comes at a price. So let's make it the best we can. And I think by buying a 2 kilo piece, you're going to have some leftovers. So you can knock out a quick stir fry tomorrow night with some of the trimmings and things like that. You get to have a little nibble off the edge as well. But it's beautiful, this, because it'll just roast away in the oven easy. And pork and prunes and ginger and coriander all work beautifully. And that's why we've used the California prunes. That's why I've built this recipe around what works and what's delicious with California prunes. Because I've been working with them, I think, nearly 10 years now.
Wow.
Maybe 8, certainly near 10. And we've created a lot of recipes together, haven't we, over the past few years, trying to develop and create, because they're so delicious, nutritious, versatile. I wanted to sort of get cooking live with California prunes as well. So can you see that, Emily? Do you see how we've just sort of scored in there? And if I look, you can see it's not cut through. And this belly pork is actually on the bone as well. So it's got the ribs underneath it. Let's pop that on there. Get rid of that. Pork sat on the vegetables. Now, little bit of oil. It's really important. Now, before I get to this bit, if the pork has been vac packed, it's going to be sort of quite damp, and you want to dry the skin off, and even wipe it with a little bit of vinegar on a piece of kitchen roll if you want, and that vinegar will really help crisp the skin up and get it dry. And then we're going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil, just a bit, just to sort of give it a sheen, rub that in. Okay, and then with your other hand that hasn't got oil on, sea salt. Don't be shy with the sea salt, otherwise you will not get a crispy skin. So a couple of tablespoons of sea salt on there, and just sort of push it about a bit, let some of it get into those little cuts, because that is going to be flavour in there. Some black pepper, just ground, and then fennel seeds, tablespoon. Pork and fennel, such a good combination. It really, really is. So just pat that down. Some of the fennel seeds will find their way into the little cracks and some will not, okay? But that's fine. Okay, so just gonna wash my hands. Okay, we're going to whack this into the oven. Right, I'm going to put it in 200 degrees for 20 minutes. And what that does is it gets everything going. It gets everything crispy at the top. Then we're going to turn the temperature down, add a pint of water, and then let it tick over for a good couple of hours, okay? Right, while that is cooking, let's do the rice. But before I do, if you want any of the recipes from this little mini-series, and we're going to do 3 parts, 2 recipes per episode, so there's 6 amazing recipes that we're using with California Prunes. Emily has created a little ebook, so if you want any of the recipes, just type free book in the comments below on the video. It will then launch into Facebook Messenger. Follow the instructions and we will deliver you an ebook as a PDF in Messenger that you can save onto your phone, onto your computer, or onto your tablet, and you've got it. Okay? Right, so rice. I'm just preheating my pan. So we're going to start off with onions. I've got a couple of red onions here. So cut them in half, and then using a 20 centimeter cook's knife, cut down the middle, lots of little slices, and then cut in horizontally. Can we see that, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah? So I haven't cut through the onion, because if you cut all the way through, it'll fall apart. And then just pinch it together like that, push your knife through, and just chop them into little pieces, all right? Now remember, if you've got any questions at all, post them in the comments below. Exactly the same place where you put free book to get your free book as well. So we'll do the next one. There we go. Right, let's get some oil in the pan. So a tablespoon of olive oil. This is a 4-litre shallow pan. Okay, so it's got a decent surface area. It's not too deep. Be perfect for what we want. And then in with our onions. There we go. Is that back to where it was?
A little bit.
A little bit that way?
Well, yeah.
There we go. I like to keep it in the right place for Emily. So, it's very much a team effort, this. The guys are there, keeping an eye on every screen, every angle to make sure that you guys see what you want to see on the recipe. Not just me banging on about food. Right, let's chop this one as well.
Can you use white onion?
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, if I'd have had white, I would have used white. I just had red today, so that's what I had. We've just had a bank holiday and I went to the supermarket this morning and literally everything fresh, gone. So we're just waiting for replenishment. So red it was today. Right. Feel like we've had California weather this weekend, haven't we?
Yeah.
Beautiful weather. So I've been very lucky that I've actually been able to visit the orchards where these little California prunes are grown, and honestly blew me away. Just eating them off the trees and then watching them be processed was an amazing experience as a chef. Really, really good. And you kind of forget that prunes are dried plums.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not called dried prunes, you forget, but they are, and they're absolutely delicious. So good for you. Emily and I have worked with them loads over the years, and they're very versatile. We'll get to them in a minute. Right, a little bit of salt in there. That will draw out the moisture, get everything going. Right, so fresh ginger. Now again, this recipe is about what works together. So we're talking delicious California prunes, ginger, more ginger with our ginger beer, pork, coriander. They just love to be together, these flavors. And that's how we kind of ended up with this recipe. So I'm going to just peel my ginger. Now, if you really, really want to, if you want to be super frugal, you can do a couple of things with this, and I know you do this sometimes, don't you? Pour boiling water over it with a mug, with a slice of lemon, and have a ginger and lemon tea, or you can make a ginger syrup. So take all your peelings into a pan, a couple of 100 grams of sugar, a couple of 100 grams of water, and boil it up until the sugar is completely dissolved, and you'll end up with an incredible ginger syrup. You could add that to your coffee if you wanted to, if you like a flavoured coffee. You can add it as a cordial, you know, you can do all sorts with it. You can carbonate it. You can kind of make... Yeah, absolutely. Brush it onto a cake, you name it. Drizzle it over like fresh watermelon. That'd be nice in the summer with loads of fresh mint. So we'll hang on to that. Always good to find different ways of using up leftovers. So we'll slice our ginger up. And we're just going to chop it into little pieces. What we're going to try and do is almost make like a bit like a biryani. We're going to bake our rice so it's really light and fluffy. Almost like a paella, Carlos. I said almost. Okay, so nice fine pieces of ginger. Chopped into little matchsticks and then chop them the next way as well. Okay. There we go. Right, let's get this ginger in. Lovely. Right.
Smells lovely.
I love ginger. It's kind of clean and fresh and full of flavour.
Fresh ginger as well. I use powdered ginger in certain things.
Yeah, yeah.
Completely different.
It's like a different thing, isn't it?
Fresh ginger's fruity.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like fresh chili and dried chili.
Yeah.
It's fruitier, it's fresher, it's more vibrant. It feels better for you,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Right, so I've got 2 rice. This is 100% wild rice, okay? And often in the supermarkets, when you buy wild rice, it's blended of these two. So we've got long grain and we've got wild, okay? Pure wild takes a little bit longer to cook. So we're going to add it in. I've actually got a little bit of the other as well in there somehow. So, in with your wild rice. And then we'll get that going for a minute before we add the long grain.
And how many people would say this rice would feed?
This will definitely feed 6 people.
Yeah.
Trying to match it up against your pork, it depends on your appetite. I mean, that might feed 8 people, to be honest. It depends. But it's just a really... Emily's shaking her head. No, it's like 6, maybe 4,
Yeah.
maybe 1.
Yeah.
So I've tried to match the recipe, but do you know what? If you go to the butcher's and you buy a piece of belly pork that's bigger, use the leftovers up. What I would do is slice it up. I'd sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar and Chinese 5 spice on the leftovers, and I'd whack it under the grill. So you get like Chinese spare ribs, but without the bone, because you only get the best. I'm going to do that tomorrow, Emily. Let's get this program made, and we'll do that tomorrow for lunch. We'll film it, and we'll pop it on our Instagram feed. There you go. Right. Okay, let's get some long grain in there as well. Same amount. But like I say, if you go to the supermarket and it's mixed, just do that. Chuck it in. Do not worry about it. Okay, so we'll mix that together. So let's have a recap. We've got our olive oil in there. We've got onions, salt. We've got fresh ginger diced up. We've got wild rice, 100%, and some long grain rice as well in there. Carlos will put the recipe ingredients down the side, and then all you have to do is type free book into the comments and you will get the recipe. All right? Love it when technology works. Oh, do you remember the old days where we used to have to tell everyone?
Yeah.
Now we have the technology. Right. Okay, so I'm going to get some moisture into here. We've got a couple more ingredients to add. We have got our beautiful California prunes. Now, dried plums. Super good for you. Like little nuggets of sweetness. Big injection of fibre. Super good for you. What I've learned over the years in working with California prunes is the more fibre you introduce into your cooking, the more nutrients your body will absorb. So I think get the fibre in where you can, and then everything else you benefit from. So I'm just going to chop couple of times. Not much, because I want these California prunes to sort of sit in the rice. And when you hit it, when you put it in your mouth, you get this big hit of sweetness and a change of texture. It'll be delicious. So that'll do for me. I'm just going to add these into the pan. There we go. I've got some desiccated coconut, which again will work really well with all the flavours. So I'm going to put 4 tablespoons in there. And then in with our ginger beer. All right, we've got liquid to add. Got some vegetable stock and I've got some ginger beer. Fever Tree. We've gone posh this time, haven't we, Emily?
Yeah.
So in with our ginger beer, any ginger beer you like. If you can't get it, add some ground ginger or more ginger to your vegetable stock.
Is there a difference between, you know, like you say the ginger ale and ginger beer, or is it the same thing?
I don't think there's a difference. I think it's all the same. Unless somebody tells me different,
Yeah.
I think it's all the same. So, we're going to get this up to the boil. Okay? And then we're going to put it in the oven because I want it to cook with the pork and I want it to be really light and fluffy. What I don't want to do is keep stirring this and getting all the starch. It's not a risotto. It's like a baked rice dish, okay? So, let's just get the lid on the pan. We'll get that up to temperature and then it's ready for the oven. Right. Okay, so rice has come up to the boil. It's important you don't put the lid on because when we put it in the oven, we want the water and the liquid to evaporate, okay? So you can see up to the boil now, yeah? All I'm going to do is just grab my coriander, and you see the stalk there, Emily?
Yeah.
That's what you cook with, all right? Don't cook with the leaf, cook with the stalk. So just shift the elastic band, or as I would call it in Yorkshire, a laggy band. And then just chop, let's move that out of the way. Chop the stalk. I want a couple of tablespoons because we want the flavour to get through, and then we'll finish with freshness. There we go, that'll do. Pop those back in there. So we'll get these in nice and early. So remember, cook with the stalk, finish with the leaf. Let's give that a little stir with my very manly pink spoon. Can I? You like this one, Carlos, don't you?
I love the pink.
You like pink, don't you? Right. So now it's just simmering, okay? Let's whack this in the oven. Okay. So while that's cooking, let's make a non-alcoholic California prune, lime, mint and ginger mojito. Sounds good. It's always nice to have some alternative non-alcoholic drinks, particularly through the summer, because everyone's kind of like so used to sugary, fizzy drinks that like are absolutely spiked full of sweetness. Whereas this is full of goodness, tastes amazing. Okay, so first of all, we're going to make the syrup. So we've got our California prunes, okay? So that's going to give us a deep, rich colour. And then we're going to add some fresh ginger, which will make it really tasty. It will work super well with the prunes and the lime and the mint that you would normally get from a mojito. So let's just peel our ginger. Always good to have some fresh ginger in the fridge. Keeps for ages, very versatile. So 3 little slices of that. Sorry, Pip, not for you today. The minute she hears the knife chopping, she's in. Right, yeah. Right, take your limes and just roll them a little bit. And what that does is it just softens all the chambers inside the lime. Much easier to get all the juice out. So I'm going to I'm going to roll the limes. There we go. And let's slice them in half. So I'm going to make a batch, all right? Because I think if you've got it, then you can make them much easier anytime you like. All right, start squeezing these, Emily. Right, so I've got a juicer. This means I'll get as much lime juice out as I possibly can. Okay. So, get every little bit out you can. If you haven't got fresh limes, don't make this drink. Please don't use pasteurized bottled lime juice. It's just not the same. You won't get that fresh, vibrant, clean flavour. It's just not worth it. I mean, as a kid, I only ever knew Jif lemon.
Yeah.
On my pancakes once a year.
I say that you can't beat that on pancakes.
Oh, Emily. I can't convince Poppy either to have fresh lemon juice on her pancakes.
It's my one thing that
Is it?
I do have at home.
But you remember though, you won't remember this as a kid maybe, but as a kid, once you used the Jif lemon, it was a water pistol. A free water pistol. But now they don't come as little lemons anymore. Yeah, now they're just in bottles. How boring is that?
They do the big lemon. They do them as big lemons, I think.
Do they?
I think so. I'll find you one.
Yeah. Right. That is all our lime juice, okay? And I have made a mess. I've made a proper Emily mess.
Hey.
Okay. Right, let's get rid of the chopping board. I don't think we need that anymore. Feel under pressure. Carlos is a bit of a cocktail connoisseur, aren't you? Okay, so stick blender, all right? And some lovely fresh mint. Now, Emma has been growing this Moroccan mint in the garden for me. And she delivered some from yesterday's gardening session. So I thought, what better way to make a delicious drink? We've got friends coming around tonight, actually. I might try this out on them. In we go with some fresh mint. It can be any mint you like. I just happen to have fresh Moroccan mint because that's what we were growing. But if you're in the garden centre and you want some fresh mint, herbs and things like that, look for the Moroccan mint because it is much nicer in my opinion.
Dried mint.
No dried mint for this one. Right, we'll just blend it up now. So the idea is to make like a puree, almost like a cordial concentrate. It smells so fresh. Now, before we get to pouring, which we're very close to, we've got some ginger beer. Now, there are all kinds of ginger beers out there. I do particularly love an Australian version. Is it Blunderberg?
Yeah.
Yes. But we've got Fever Tree as well, which is really nice as well. Going to add a little bit just to loosen this out. Okay? So that we can get it all blended nicely. That's it. Can you see that on the overhead? Yeah. There we go. All blended up together. Just big flavours blended together. Same as cooking. It's exactly the same as making great drinks, in my opinion. Right, let's just pour some of this in here. There we go. So I'm just using a sieve just to capture any of the fibres. If you don't mind, don't worry about it. You don't have to, but I just wanted to get a really nice, clean cordial that's full of flavour. Okay, so we've got our California prunes, we've got our fresh ginger, we've got our mint in there, and we've got loads of lime juice to give it that kind of mojito feel. Okay. What I would do is probably all of this at the same time. Once it's put through a sieve, it's nice and clean. Put it in a jar or a bottle and keep it in the fridge for when you want one. There we go. Let's just pop that in there for now. And then good sprig of mint, always needed for a nice mojito. There we go. Pop that in and then top it up with our ginger beer. Done that before, haven't I? There we go. Let's give it a little stir. And we'll test it out on our cocktail connoisseur. Emily, give it a whirl. You've drunk plenty of cocktails this weekend, haven't you? And we'll top this one up as well. There we go.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's give that a little stir as well. And there you go. There you go. That's how you make a California prune, lime, ginger, and mint mojito. Right, pork and rice are ready. Just wait till you see this. So this is one that I put in slightly earlier so that we could show you exactly what it should look like. And more importantly, what should it sound like? Listen to that. That is what you want. Now, let's just lift this pork out, if I can, because it's super tender. Let's give it a little... Oh, smells so good in this kitchen. Right, there we go.
Whoa.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
And let's bring the rice out as well, because that has baked. All the moisture has evaporated, and that will just leave you with a really nice, fluffy, flavorful rice. Okay.
Pan forward a bit, please.
There we go. Is that all right?
Yeah.
You see how it's just absorbed. There we go. So let's grab some of that rice. And the prunes have absorbed the ginger beer and the stock. So you want to make sure that you get some of them, and that's why we left them whole, so that you just get that lovely bit of flavour. And then let's take some of our pork.
Oh, listen to that.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cut a little corner off there for somebody.
Can't do that.
I don't fancy your chances of you getting to that before I do.
I don't know. I'll come on screen for that.
There we go. So let's just take that little piece of pork. Little piece of pork. It's not a little piece, is it? There we go. Let's take that and just plonk it on there. And then a little bit of fresh coriander, just for that kind of vibrant, fresh finish. There you go. And that is how to make the most delicious roasted belly pork with a California prune, ginger beer, and coriander rice.